trouble at Mercedes as Mercedes make a shocking statement. So we're gonna be going through that and 5 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel hitting that red button down below. The first story is Mercedes boss Toto Wolff makes a shocking statement that Lewis Hamilton will leave Mercedes. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff has said he will allow Lewis Hamilton to quit their team if they fail to provide him with a car that can win championship titles. Both Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff have been trying to negotiate a new deal. The British racing legend will have his contract expire this summer. While they failed to agree on any terms yet, both have confirmed they want to extend the partnership. But for the first time, Wolff gave a hint that Lewis could be forced to go somewhere else if wants to chase another world title. Toto said, "I don't think that Lewis will leave Mercedes. He's at the stage of a career where we trust each other. We have formed a great bond among each other, and we have no reason to doubt each other, even though this is a difficult spell." He said he will have no hard feelings if Lewis does leave Mercedes. As a driver, nevertheless, if he wants to win another championship, he needs to make sure that he has the car. And if we cannot demonstrate that we're able to give him a car in the next couple of years, then he needs to look everywhere. I don't think he's doing it at that stage, but I will have no grouch if that happens in a year or two. While Mercedes and Hamilton continue to struggle, rumors persist of a potential move to rivals Ferrari or Red Bull. He did admit to wanting to drive for Ferrari in the past. In an interview with Sky Sports Italia, "For many years, when I came to Monza, walking next to the fans, I could hear them saying come to Ferrari. This warmed my heart, but it's pretty amazing that I've never driven for Ferrari in so many years, because it is a dream for anyone, a goal to be achieved." The main rumor is that Hamilton could be swapped with Ferrari star boy Charles Leclerc. Charles had an emergency meeting called with Ferrari's president John Elkann. This came after a poor Bahrain campaign. Ahead of the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, Friday's practice saw Hamilton finishing at P6 and Leclerc at P9. Currently, Hamilton boasts 7 F1 championships. He is looking to win his 8th to become the F1 driver with the most championships, surpassing legend Michael Schumacher. The second story is despite winning 6 titles with Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton ranks RB19 as most dominant F1 car ever. Lewis Hamilton has seen an enormous amount of success with Mercedes. With over 6 titles and countless wins with the Silver Arrows, he has gone on to be statistically the most successful Formula One driver ever. There was a time when he used to get hate just for being too good. But now the tides of F1 have changed, and this year, Red Bull is conspicuously the best team on the grid. The performances by Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen in the season's first 2 races prove that. However, Hamilton goes the extra mile to call the current Red Bull car, RB19, the most dominant car ever. With this statement, he ranks the 2023 car by the Austrian team above all the magnificent championship-winning cars by the Brackley-based team. On Sunday, the 7-time world champion finished 51 seconds behind the winning RB19 in Jeddah. This result has prompted him to call their rival machinery the best ever compared to the rest, including his own Mercedes cars, which he claims were never so dominant despite being fast ones. "I've definitely never seen a car so fast," said Hamilton. "When we were fast, we weren't that fast. That's the fastest car I think I've seen, especially compared to the rest. I don't know why or how, but he came past me at high speed." Before Hamilton's statement, many thought the 2020 car by Mercedes W11 was the best car ever, but the current Red Bull car, with its incredible pace, can dethrone the greatest Mercedes car. Verstappen, after a technical failure during the SAD qualifying, was destined to start the race from P15 the following day. The Dutchman cruised over all the cars on his way, and by the halfway mark, he was already P2. In between, he also got to face his old rival Hamilton, and without any difficulty, he overtook him. Hamilton, talking about that phase of the race, confessed that RB19 was so fast that he didn't even think of blocking Verstappen and making his race slightly complicated. Though Hamilton is not alone in Mercedes thinking towards Red Bull like that. Both George Russell and Toto Wolff think Mercedes will win every race this season with that pace. Russell even claims since Mercedes 2014, he hasn't seen such a deficit between the top team and the rest of the grid. He isn't entirely wrong in his assessment. Ferrari, which was seen as the only threat to Red Bull this season, was nowhere near their rivals in Jeddah. The third story, George Russell has clarified the confusion which occurred over team radio during his mid-race battle with Mercedes teammate Lewis Hamilton at the F1 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. There was some uncertainty over team radio at Mercedes when Hamilton, running on mediums after the safety car, caught up to the back of Russell who was on the hards. During the race, Russell's response to his race engineer was broadcast, leading to speculation that he'd rejected a team order to let his teammate through. Sky Sports reported after the race there was no instruction from Mercedes to Russell. Russell said to his engineer, "Alonso has a 5-second penalty here, let's fight later. I want to manage the tires a little bit now." Shortly after, Russell pulled clear of Hamilton to finish comfortably fourth. Clarifying what went on with Hamilton after the safety car, Russell told Sky, "It was an interesting race. After the safety car, I was on the hards, Lewis was on the mediums, so he probably had a bit more pace in the beginning. I knew my pace was coming at the end. But there was a lot of confusion because I thought Fernando had a 5-second penalty, so I didn't want to be fighting among each other, and we both lose out to Fernando. I wanted to stay within distance, manage our tires, then have a fair battle towards the end. I'm pleased with P4. The penalty to Fernando is pretty harsh. They are the deserving podium finishers, but I'm not complaining too much. It was another dominant display from Red Bull, who took another 1-2 finish. Despite a safety car period, Russell finished over 25 seconds behind race winner Sergio Perez. Assessing Red Bull's performance in Saudi Arabia, Russell compared it to Mercedes' domination at the start of the V6 hybrid era in 2014. "Give credit to what Red Bull have done," he added. "The gap to the rest of the field is the biggest since Mercedes in 2014. It's a serious gap. Everyone needs to work harder to understand how to close that gap. We know we didn't make the right decisions over the winter. We have gained more performance than you would ordinarily, so everything is not lost. We will still be fighting hard. We want to win races this year. We want to be in the championship hunt. But we have to be realistic, focus on ourselves, and get the fundamentals right for the future. We have to take the positives away from this weekend. We qualified ahead of the Ferraris and Astons. The car is capable of that at the moment." The fourth story is team principal Toto Wolff accepts reality that Mercedes F1 car is off the pace. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff accepts the reality that their Formula One car is not good enough to challenge their main rivals this season. At least he knows where the W14's faults lie. "We understand, crystal clear," Wolff said on Friday at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. "There are no miracles in this sport. I don't think we can beat the teams in front of us. That's the reality." Wolff's comments came a day after 7-time F1 champion Lewis Hamilton said Mercedes was so far off the pace that he would need 3 teams to fall out of a race just for him to have a chance to win. Red Bull dominated the season opener in Bahrain 2 weeks ago with a 1-2 finish from 2-time defending world champion Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Fernando Alonso finished a surprising 3rd for Aston Martin, and Carlos Sainz Jr. was 4th for Ferrari. Hamilton was 51 seconds behind Verstappen in 5th, and teammate George Russell was 56 seconds back in 7th. Both placings would have been worse had Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc's engine not failed near the end of the race. "We need to do a better job," Wolff said. "We have to set ourselves strong targets internally because we know where the deficit is. But I wouldn't want to talk publicly about it because it will just put pressure." Hamilton was critical of Mercedes after Bahrain, telling a BBC podcast that Mercedes didn't listen to him about the development of this year's car. Wolff understood his frustration. "We know there are emotions at play. With him, with me, with many others in the team. We wear our hearts on our sleeve," Wolff said. "We know that emotions can run high. We have tough love, and nobody's not ever going to not take it on the chin in the team." Wolff knows Mercedes made a mistake in car development after Russell earned their only race win last year. Mercedes struggled with the ground effect known as porpoising, and Russell was 4th in the 2022 standings. Hamilton was 6th. The 2023 W14 car has very narrow bodywork, known in F1 as a zero sidepod concept, but Mercedes essentially produced a flawed car. The 5th story is Mercedes F1 team will copy Red Bull. "I don't care," says Toto Wolff. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff has made it clear that he's not bothered if their quest for a more competitive car results in a design that mirrors Red Bull's. The priority for the team is to create the fastest possible race car, regardless of its appearance, and if that means copying Red Bull, then I don't care, he says. The Brackley squad has come to terms with the fact that a major overhaul of its W14 design is necessary after failing to meet their progress expectations at the beginning of the 2023 season in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. The W14's unique Zeropod design, a key feature that's remained from its predecessor, could be replaced by a design that echoes Red Bull's successful cars, which have claimed 11 victories in the last 12 races and took home the Constructor Championship in 2022. Wolff expressed his open-mindedness about the car's appearance during the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix qualifying session, saying, "We have no dogmatism of how the car should look like. It just needs to be the quickest possible race car. If that looks like a Red Bull, I don't care. It just needs to be quick." He continued, adding that he'd feel no shame if the team copied the Milton Keynes outfit. And it worked. The team is reevaluating every aspect of the car's design, moving beyond its unique side pods. Wolf elaborated, "It is all the aerodynamic surfaces that are visible from the leading edge all the way to the diffuser and the beam wing. There is a massive amount on the floor, obviously with a ground effect car. And then there are many more architectural things that are necessary in order to give it the bodywork that you think is most efficient. So, literally, the car is being turned upside down at the moment, and there's a lot of goodness that we see." He continued, discussing how Mercedes managed to miss the mark. "I think you're trying to fire it right in the target, and the first time we missed it on the left and looked at the target again, and the next time we missed it on the right," he said.